welcome. My name is Tracy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Case the Catalogue Day and I have a really great card using the So Hoppy Together stamp set. This is a celebration item, so it's a free item. For every $90 you get to choose an item from the Celebration Catalogue, and this one is absolutely so cute. So I'm going to bring in the catalogue. It's on page 13, and last month I actually did this card for you, and today we are doing this card here. So I did say last month that I really liked these two cards here and I'd probably come back and do one of those. Well, today's the day. So let's bring that card in. And it's really bright and green. I love it. Green is not really one of my go-to colours, but this Granny Apple Green is just, yeah, I seem to be using it a lot more lately, but I love how this turned out. So let's get over to the craft table and we'll get started. The supplies for this card are the So Hoppy Together stamp set. Now this is the free celebration item, so you spend $90 here in Australia and you can choose this one as your free item. We have the Amazing Life stamp set, and we're just using this little stamp down here, the Yay, and that's stamped randomly in the background there, you can see. I have the rectangle stitched framelit dies. Now to me this is a must-have in any craft stash. Very, very worth the money, so I would highly recommend saving up your dollars and purchasing this to have in your supply kit. The inks we have are the Granny Apple Green stamp pad. Also using some Stampin' Right markers, we have Pacific Point, Granny Apple Green and Pumpkin Pie. We're using an aqua brush. Also have the cookie cutter punch. We're using these button punch outs here. And in the catalogue they use real red cotton ribbon, and I don't actually have that, but I have the real red stitched satin. Now this is a retired item, but I still have some in my stash, so I'm going to actually use that one. So I also have my kit here, and all the measurements and supplies can be found over on my blog, and that's in the description of this video. You can also purchase all your Stampin' Up supplies through me. I have an online store and there's a hostess code there, so if you're going to purchase through me, please pop in that hostess code and I'll send you out a free gift. So we have, the card base is actually Granny Apple Green, and it's a piece of A4 that has been cut in half and scored in half again. We have another piece of Granny Apple Green. I have the shimmery white cardstock, which we're going to colour in the frog. I have a piece of vellum that is in that background there, which you probably can't see too well, but there's a little bit of vellum in the background just to give it a little bit of extra texture. We have just a scrap piece of Whisper White, scrap piece of Mango Melody, Real Red and Pacific Point, and I've also used the Everyday Label Punch, which is this one here. Just to cut my sentiment here, but you could certainly just use your scissors and cut that out. So first off I want to bring in my big shot because I really want to use my stitched rectangle framelits to cut my piece of Granny Apple Green. Now the one we're using to cut that one out is the second largest on this side. So this one here, it's quite a large one. Just going to pop these all out of the road. Bring my big shot in. Just going to quickly cut that out and then we can get rid of the big shot. So the great thing about these stitched dies is they stitch on both the positive and the negative die cut. So what that is, I'll just quickly show you that. I have shown before, but if you've missed that video, let's pop this one out. So this is your negative and it is stitched all the way around. There we go. sorry about that. So it is stitched all the way around, but the piece that we cut out as well is also stitched all the way around. So we have both a lovely stitch, so you can still use this on another card, which is great, a great feature. So I might have to use this on another card soon. Wait and see what I can come up with. So we can get rid of the big shot, we don't need that anymore. And we might start off with this matting, so let's bring in my piecing mat, and I'm also going to use the Granny Apple Green ink. So we're just going to stamp that yay all the way around, but I'm going to tilt it so it goes down this way. That doesn't really make sense. I want to tilt it so it's not straight up and down, it's off to the side. So you can see on this one it's been stamped across like that, so it gives it a really great effect. So let's just start stamping, and I might fast forward this because you've seen me do this sort of thing 1,000 times. So that gives us our great little background matting. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in the shimmery white cardstock, and I want to colour in that frog on the unicycle, but we're going to use our Stampin' Up markers. So let's bring in the Pacific Point, and I'm using the brush tip end, and I'm just going to colour in that unicycle. So I'm using the side of the brush tip. I'm not pushing down on the tip, just using the side. And this is a great thing about the Stampin' Up markers, you can use them as a stamp pad. Okay, so I've got plenty of colour on that. I'm going to bring in the Granny Apple Green, same thing, the brush tip, and let's make sure there's plenty of green all on that frog. And we're just going to add a little bit of extra moisture to that. We're just going to huff on it. And then I'm going to stamp him down towards the bottom. So he's riding his unicycle on the bottom of that piece of shimmery white. Okay, so that turned out really quite well. I'm going to bring in a acrylic block, and I'm just going to use the Stampin' Up marker. I'm going to put some ink down, and I'm going to use my aqua brush to pick up that ink. And we're just going to quickly colour in the frog and the unicycle. Now it is shimmery white, so I can take a little bit of water, but I don't want to wash out his edges where the stamp has stamped. So we're just bringing some colour in, but we're not washing him out completely. And making sure when you colour in the frog, we don't want to colour in his eyes. Leave them white. So the less you put actually on the edge where it's been stamped, the better the image will look. And I'll show you in a second, because my first one bled a little bit because I sort of went over it too much. So the trick is not to sort of touch those edges, or not to touch them too much. Okay, so let me just show you the one I've just done then and the one I did before. See how it's a bit more blurred? You can definitely see it in the unicycle. Not so much there. So I'm just going to take off that ink on the aqua brush. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to put some of the Pacific Point down. Well, let's colour in. Okay, so this one I really didn't put much water down, and I was very careful around the edges, so it definitely doesn't look so washed out. I'm going to bring in my little piece of Whisper White, and I want to do the same with the sentiment. So we're going to use the Stampin' Up markers, and using the brush tip end as well, I'm going to colour in the You Can Do, just like that. And then with the pumpkin pie, we're going to colour in the Anything. I'm going to huff on that and just stamp that down there. Looks like we've just stamped it with an ink pad, doesn't it? It looks really, really good. So let's bring in that punch. And I'm just going to cut that down, trim that down with the scissors. Oh. There we go. So we have our sentiment, we have our frog piece, we have our back matting. All that's left is our little balls that he's juggling with. So let's bring in that cookie cutter punch. And I just want a circle for each colour. So we have Real Red, Mango Melody, that one flew everywhere, and Pacific Point as well. So this is great to use up your little pieces of scraps. So with all the elements ready to go, let's pop all this card together. So I'm going to bring in the card base. It is already pre-scored, so let's just fold her over. And just burnish that edge. I'm going to use some Tombow glue, and we're going to stick this matting straight down. So let's bring that multi-purpose glue in. And stick it down in the middle. Doesn't that really just make it all pop? It's really, really good. So I'm going to bring some glue dots in. I just want to attach some glue dots to the back. Tombow glue doesn't work very well with vellum, and just about everything actually seeps through where you can see the glue. So just going to pop a glue dot on each corner and pop it straight down in the middle of the vellum. So let's work on our frog doing his little juggling, and I found the little mini dimensionals were perfect for the little juggling ball. So let's stick one on each one. And we can pop them straight up as well. If you're watching this, did you choose the So Hoppy Together as your free item in Celebration? And if you didn't, what did you choose? Or what would you choose? Okay, last one. Oh, it's a little bit burred. Let me just bring in my scissors and get rid of that little bit of burring. Okay. And while we have the glue dots out, let's bring in that ribbon. And you only need the tiniest little bit. Let's measure him up. That will be plenty. And you can either use tear and tape or glue dots as well. And I just want it on the bottom of that where anything is. So I'm just going to pop 2 on. Sticking it down onto that ribbon. And I stick some mini dimensionals on the back there to pop him up. Does not need 4. Let's just pop 3 on. Okay, there's a little pop him down just there. Actually, I need to get down a little bit lower. That's better. And we're going to bring in some normal size dimensionals because we're just going to pop him up onto that matting. I think this would be a fun card to give to anyone, but kids would absolutely love this. The colours, the brightness to it. Popping him in the middle there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. If you have, I would really appreciate a thumbs up and a comment. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. I have 2 videos every single week coming out, and if you're subscribed, you're not going to miss anything. If you're after some Stampin' Up supplies and you live in Australia, I would love to be your demonstrator. I have an online store which is in the link of this video. If you are going to purchase through me, please use that hostess code so I can send you out a free gift. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye.